Welcome to Across Africa, our weekly roundup of stories from across the continent. I'm Georgia Calvin-Smith, and coming up, Olympic runner Caster Semenya lost her legal bid to compete without taking testosterone-reducing drugs. The South African athlete's case has far-reaching effects for professional sportswomen. Also in the middle of a notoriously insecure region, an island in DR Congo's Lake Kivu is one of the few places untouched by militia groups. One couple's trying to encourage tourists to the idyllic spot. And a woman-only tracking company in Ghana is bucking industry norms. We meet the team of female drivers making up Ladybird Logistics. But first, South African runner Caster Semenya has lost a landmark legal case over testosterone levels. The sports world's highest court has ruled that if she wants to compete in certain events, she will have to take medication to reduce her naturally high hormone levels. Maud Julien has more on the ruling.
She's a star athlete, a double Olympic gold medalist and three-time world champion over 800 meters. But since her spectacular rise in 2009, from unknown South African teenager to winner of the World Cup, the 28-year-old runner's gender has come under scrutiny, with some claiming that higher levels of testosterone in her body give her an unfair advantage. Earlier this year, the International Association of Athletics Federation said that female runners with higher levels of the hormone should reduce it before they're allowed to compete. Caster Semenya filed an appeal against the rule. The Court of Arbitration for Sport rejected it.
The panel found that the DSD regulations are discriminatory, but the majority of the panel found that on the basis of the evidence submitted by the parties in the procedure, such discrimination is a necessary, reasonable and proportionate means of achieving the IAAF's objective of preserving the integrity of female athletics.
In a statement, Caster Semenya said that she would rise above the court's decision and continue to inspire athletes around the world. Sport has traditionally been divided into male and female categories, but Semenya's case suggests it may be an artificially binary distinction. The United Nations Human Rights Council said that sporting bodies should refrain from developing policies that force women and girl athletes into undergoing unnecessary, humiliating, and harmful medical procedures.
In Khartoum, Sudan, an open-air library has been set up at the site of the ongoing sit-in, offering books that were once banned in the country. Many are related to human rights and revolution. Nicolas Chemin tells us more.
This open-air library is a result of the Sudanese revolution. Many of the books here used to be banned during Omar al-Bashir's rule. He was ousted last month after 30 years in power following mass protests.
I think this library is a very positive thing. Reading will help people be more educated. I've just been reading about the history of Sudan. The information we find here can help us in the next phase. People must read to develop ideas. This is the real revolution.
People can buy the books or simply sit down and read them. The most popular ones are those about politics and power.
Most of the people are looking for things that we've been deprived of, that we couldn't read in the past, that we couldn't get information about, such as uprisings. Before, we couldn't talk about freedom, human rights, democracy. We were repressed. The old regime was able to put a lock on our brains. But now, as you can see, it's freedom. Freedom.
Individual freedoms might be greater, but the political situation remains tense. So far, protesters are finding it hard to trust the military council that is currently running the country.
The number of Chinese tourists heading to Morocco is climbing steeply. By 2018, Morocco counted about 300,000 overnight stays from Chinese holidaymakers. One of the most popular places is the small town of Chefchaouen. Hotels there have seen a 50% increase in visitors from 2017 to 2018. Our reporters bring you this report.
Chefchaouen, the blue town that nestles in the Rif Mountains, is proof that Chinese tourists are visiting Morocco in ever greater numbers. Visa rules were loosened in 2016 and the number of visitors from China here has doubled. These tourists are attracted to the town's renowned blue tint, a symbol of romanticism in Chinese culture. Hamza's one of 19 official Moroccan guides to speak Mandarin. After spending 2 years living in China, now he leads groups of Chinese tourists through the blue streets.
They didn't expect a country where there's just as many prairies and trees as deserts. In their imagination, Morocco is a dry country covered in deserts.
This is one of the 3 new Chinese restaurants that have opened in the town. There were none until 2 years ago. Here, Moroccan customs mix with Chinese culture.
Most of them came to Morocco more than 1 week. They are tired of touching every day touching, so that's why they came to our restaurant to have their own Chinese food.
Moroccan tourist entrepreneurs want to tap into this new Chinese market. To adapt to the demand, the Moroccan government is planning to create a new air route between Casablanca and Beijing.
The emerging Chinese market in Morocco is booming. I can assure you that this trend will have a positive impact in terms of tourism flows between the 2 countries.
To respond to this exponential demand, travel agencies are multiplying, with smaller companies facing tough competition.
Yes, we need to find a way to solve this problem, because now the group become more and more, but the price become lower.
As the market seeks to stabilize, the government hopes to attract at least 500,000 Chinese tourists by 2020.
Despite long-running insecurity in the east of Democratic Republic of Congo, much of the area remains lush and verdant. Some residents on an island in Lake Kivu are hoping to turn the spot into a tourist destination. They say that Ijwi is an idyllic and safe getaway.
Nestled near Rwanda on Lake Kivu, the Congolese island of Ijwi is a small natural paradise. It's the only place in the region untouched by armed militia groups seeking to impose their rule on rural communities. Luc spent over a decade fighting for justice at the UN on behalf of victims of war crimes committed in the country. Today, with his wife Espérance, he has taken on a new mission, developing ecological and solidarity tourism in the DRC.
The potential of Ijwi Island is enormous. Here, there's no risk of being harassed or of being bothered by anyone. You climb on the peaks of the island. You're more than 2,500 meters high. You have views of Lake Kivu on the Congolese side, views of the Rwandan coast on the other.
Breathtaking views and the perfect climate for growing coffee. Many of Ijwi's inhabitants make a living through its harvest and production. The local cooperative buys coffee cherries from producers across the island.
Previously, our parents used to go to Rwanda to sell coffee, but as soon as we organized ourselves into a cooperative, we created a local market here at home.
Local markets have helped to develop another pride of Ijwi, its pineapples. They're harvested by a women's association led by the wife of the traditional chief, the Mwami. With its oranges, sweet potatoes, and bananas, the island is seen by some as an isolated paradise of tropical abundance in the heart of Lake Kivu. But the seclusion, the views, and the harvests come with a drawback. Here, there's no electricity grid.
Hospitals, hotels, and hostels are connected to the internet all day long, and in the evening, Wi-Fi is free for the rest of the community.
As modernization slowly trickles onto the island, some dream of becoming tour guides, a chance to show off their slice of paradise to eager tourists from around the globe. But to grow their hospitality industry, they'll have to climb over a bureaucratic hurdle and convince the DRC government to follow in Rwanda's footsteps and relax its restrictive visa policy.
In Ghana, a woman behind the wheel of a big truck turns heads. Like in much of the world, trucking there is an industry still dominated by men. But Ladybird Logistics and its team of female-only drivers now delivers fuel to Ghana's gold mines and is hoping to change attitudes.
Located in the west of Ghana, the port city of Takoradi is a hub for transportation businesses. It's here that Payin Marfa runs her women-only trucking company, Ladybird Logistics. As well as empowering women in a male-dominated sector, employing female drivers brings other benefits to her business.
I think the female drivers are more cautious. They're really careful. Maybe it's a female thing because we are always thinking about the children that we have at home and making sure that you don't want to take certain risk.
Every day in Ghana, hundreds of truck drivers take to the country's ramshackle roads to transport petrol to mining sites. It's a job that's traditionally been done by men. A 2014 survey found that just 0.3% of Ghanaian women were employed in the transport and storage sector, compared with 7.7% of men. With over 20 female drivers now working at Ladybird, the reaction from other companies and from male drivers has been positive.
So I think now there's a lot of respect from the men, and they realize that these ladies are good drivers.
Following in the footsteps of many of her family members, Abigail Amoa was already working as a trucker. But when she heard about a new company employing exclusively female drivers, she jumped at the chance to get involved.
I feel so proud because it helped me a lot. So I'm encouraging other women. You see, we have companies, but all female. That's the first time in, I think, even not Ghana, the whole world. So I'm encouraging other women out there to join the campaign for us to empower women to drive.
It may have only recently been created, but this trucking company has big ambitions for the future. Drivers like Abigail want to set a precedent in the country that they hope will pave the way for change in other industries and sectors.
Well, that's it for Across Africa for now. Do join us again if you can, but till then, thanks very much and take care.